shut my helmet, and that was it. We were serious.
That's an awesome feeling, I think, when you overcome a battle and you win.
That's why you're in the gym, you're riding a bicycle, you're running up and down the hills, so you can do that last lap. So you can beat that guy on the last lap. That's why you know, I know when I was in the gym and I'd do 3 more when I couldn't, is because, you know, I would just sit there and think about Freddie Spencer or Wayne Gardner or Wayne Rainey, and I would do 3 more and I couldn't. And it's because I was thinking about those guys. And there's a lot of guys that won't do that. You know, they just go, well, you know, I'll go run today and that'll be good. And, you know, my dad told me when I was little, you know, racing, and he goes, you know, you have to want it more than the other guys. Well, that was just words. You know, it just bounces off. You know, you're like, yeah, whatever, Dad. And then later when you realize, like I'd say in '86 for me, when I was running and thinking about those guys, that's when you realize, hey, I do want it more than those other guys. He was right. You got to want it more than those other guys, but you have to want that. So
yeah, I mean, it's that's the same way I've always thought. And you know, at the end of the races, when things like that happen, or it's a 3-bike, you know, battle, it was just something weird. And I've told Tom, my crew chief, that it's just something I experience on a bike, and I don't know what it is. But there's been so many races where, you know, the whole race I'm holding on by a string. You know, I'm on the back of the group, just struggling, and then I see L6 to go, and all of a sudden I'm there, and I just go, okay, well, how am I'm going to win this. How am I going to do it? And you don't think about struggling. You think about, okay, I got to pass this guy and do it. And it's funny. And again, when training, thinking about who I want to beat, who I'm training to beat, and I'll be a good example is I'll be riding by myself for 2 or 3 hours on a bicycle, got a heart rate monitor, have a power meter, and I've got all the different stuff going at the same time, looking at stuff and doing the same power, and I start thinking of a race, and I start thinking of what I want to do in that season, and I'll look down and I'm doing the same power, but my heart rate's gone up 15 beats because I'm getting like an adrenaline rush or thinking of something different, and
I absolutely know
it's pretty funny. They believe in me. I mean, they believe in me a little bit more than, you know, I think sometimes I do. So it's I couldn't be happier.
That's everything. When they're behind you 110% like that, that is everything.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I've had some people behind me that they said, well, how much does this person help you with, or what did they tell you this and that, and I think it's so important for a younger rider that is being talked to by, you know, whether it be you, whether it be like Wayne, that it's not so much what you're telling them and teaching them, it's them having somebody like that behind them and what they're saying, basically listening to and believing in them, and that's huge. I mean, if I come in and we talk, and even if you don't shed any light, you know, to me, but you being there to talk to, listening to, and have somebody of that caliber believing in somebody, I think that gives that person that much more confidence to get it done, and yeah, it's huge.
Right. Yeah, I mean, for me, when I rode with Kenny, or rode for Kenny, he would just go out on the track, and there's not a lot of things I couldn't tell you, you know, how to go faster. That's not possible, but I can go out on the track and I can watch the other guys go around, and I can tell you, hey, this guy's squaring the corner a little more, and he seems to be, you know, rolling through and doing this, that, and the other, whatever. And that's just good information. You're just talking about things, and if you suggest something, and you know, I'm like, hey, I think that's a good idea. Just things like that. Kenny would do that. You know, it's like, hey, I'm thinking about doing this and that. Yeah, I think that's the right way to go. Just having somebody there to back you up, going, yeah, I think that's right. You know, that's worth a lot. I remember my first time going to a 500 from a super bike, and I just went into Kenny's motorhome, and I just went, I was practically in tears. I was just going, I can't ride this. You know, he's, no, just relax. You're going to learn it. It's going to take some time.
You know, I would love to ride a 500. I don't know. It'd scare the hell out of me. I know it would. But because when I started watching racing, I really started watching in the 88. 88 to 94, I watched GPs religiously, and just not really before that, because I wasn't old enough to really understand what they were saying, because I was only about 4 or 5 when I started watching it. So, but I mean, so I watched all that stuff, and I saw all this stuff, and I know how violent they were. I mean, it was ridiculous. But yeah, I would like to ride a 500. I don't know about putting it on the limit, but able to feel the power, and no electronic assistant would be pretty cool.
Well, you wouldn't want to ride a 500 because what you're riding today, it's so removed, and it would be miserable to ride because the tires are crap and the suspension's crap, and then, you know, the power would come in so hard that it would just, you know, it'd want to high side you. And from what you know, it wouldn't be fun. I mean, I'm just telling you right now, you just do a lap on it and just go, that's crap, and then, you know, that'd be the end of it. One funny story, we were in England for the match races, and this was in '84, and Yamaha had brought a new V4 engine. It was reed valve, and that was the very first reed valve engine they had ever built for the 500. Ours were disc valve, and so they had it in a truck, and we were looking at it, and I was like, wow, that's really cool. I'm like, Kel, put that in there for the race. And he's like, oh no, the Japanese would just freak out, you know. And I'm like, put it in for the race. I want to try it. No, we have to save it for the GP to, you know, for a test. And I just kept on him, you know, Kel, just put it in there. I won't say anything. Don't say anything. Just put it in there. And he's like, oh man. So he puts the motor in. We go out and we win the race. And the Japanese found out, and they were out of their minds. But we knew it worked, so there was phone calls to Japan and all kinds. I was in trouble, and Kel was in trouble, and I was like, well, then fire us. If you're that pissed off, go ahead, just fire us. And they're like, no, I don't think we can do that. So, yeah, we've done some things that we weren't supposed to, but yeah, that was one thing that really wound him up.